I'm Brian Young, co-principal at Junction City High School.
I am Liz Henderson, and I am a social studies teacher.
Brian Miller, school counselor here at Junction City High School.
DEF is the Decision Education Foundation, and they are a foundation aimed at bringing decision education to the masses. They work within schools, and they help educators and students alike learn the science behind making a good decision. And there's a lot of really great tools they have, and we are able to use that to help kids change their lives by making better, smarter decisions.
We know that we're going to have to make decisions in our life, and so I feel like this is like a very effective way to do it, because it was just a very useful thing going straight into high school and being kind of nervous, and so you're gonna like have to make decisions on like who you're hanging out with, like what classes you're gonna take, what you're gonna do, like buying a car in your future, when you're getting your license or your permit, or just like all that stuff. And so like having another way, like so you don't really have to do it by yourself, because decisions are hard for me too. Like I sit there and think about it, but instead of just like having it all in your brain, you can write it down on paper.
Well, Decision Education Foundation has been instrumental in really helping us connect our ninth graders to high school. Even before the school year begins, we hold a Bridge Week in August, and we connect our kids with peer mentors and with some of our staff. And Decision Education has helped us through that process, as well as a new class in 2019-20. We had a class called Ninth Grade Success, and DEF was extremely helpful in helping us plan and organize that class, train our teachers, really make sure that it was successful.
You know, anytime we can give students more tools and skills to navigate what's a pretty tough age, I think certainly reduces anxiety that they have and decisions that they have to make. You know, high school is not an easy period of time, and you know, certainly the foundation or the skill set that we're providing them as 14, 15-year-olds is really going to pay dividends to down the line, making decisions with confidence.
Because I know that kids like often make the argument like, we don't learn anything valuable for our lives in school, but like here you go, like it's right here, like this is gonna help you.
I had one issue where I had a kid who was supposed to be working out a decision, and I said, do you have any big decisions? This is actually a transgender student who's having a pretty tough year, and just transitioned, and he's, I think, struggling. You know, you could see that he was withdrawn. I went over to him and said, you know, what big decisions do you have? And he said, I don't have anything I'm gonna put on paper for everyone to read. And so I said, well, it sounds like you do have some big decisions though, some things that could use this process. Well, yeah. I said, well, then let's rip out this piece of paper. We're just gonna rip it out of your workbook. And I value you more than this copy in a folder somewhere. So you work it out and take the time to look at the decision and how it's going to affect your life. And then all you need to do is show a quick like glance, like 5 seconds, here's my paper, look, it has a bunch of writing on it, to your teacher to get the score for it. And you keep that, you take it home and work through that. And the student was able to do that. They were able to access a decision that they really needed to work through and were afraid to talk about in a school environment, and we were able to give them the tools to do that.
A student that he's been friends with for a really long time, and they had a rough patch, and it hadn't been great for a while, and he was really struggling with, hey, how does he approach him with being frustrated with him, or should he just kind of write off that friendship and go separate ways? So we just kind of went through our decision chain, and he kind of, or I helped him understand what his frame was, what his values were, if he felt like he was an individual that he really wanted in his life, or if he'd be okay without him being in his life. And in walking through those steps, he made the decision that he was someone that he wanted in his life. He was able to talk to him about his frustrations, which were really pretty tough. It was a tough conversation for a 16-year-old student to have with his friends. So he did a great job of following through with that, and today they're doing fantastic.
But I've seen a lot of progress. The Bridge program combined with this class, I think, is really going to make an impact on our ninth grade on track data, which is the number of credits a freshman receives or earns in a school year. And we want that to continuously increase, and I think this class is going to help us.
I really strongly believe that so many more, and I don't have data for this, but I see it in the kids, I see it in the halls. So many more ninth graders this year feel comfortable here, feel safe here, have someone that they feel like is on their team than did before we were offering this ninth grade success class.
I feel like I'm still gonna struggle with uncertainty because I'm not always gonna like just pull out a paper and write down the chain. First, like that's pretty obvious, but I do know that it helps me think of other ways, like not just resorting to being sad about stuff or like being really confused and frazzled. Like I always kind of have a way to do it.
I think that we are giving the kids the tools to handle decisions when they come. I think as ninth graders, after one trimester in, they aren't all aware of what they now have in their tool belt. They aren't aware that they are better equipped to face big decisions, especially if they're not a student who is facing a big decision. But when that big decision comes, they are going to be so thankful that they have that foundation to help them through that decision.
I feel like the class kind of like changed the way I think about making decisions because it's not always just like spontaneous. Like some people actually have to sit down and think about it. Like some people have harder times making decisions. And so I feel like it will help me in the future, like just kind of change how I'm thinking about it in general, like just knowing that there's multiple ways that I can make the decision and I don't just have to stick to one. It's like whichever way is best for like you personally. So it's giving me more options and like other students too.